Here we are for the finale of my GX rewrite. If my count for the season 1 and 2 rewrites is correct, then I'm currently up by 11 episodes. So yes, this is technically just a fanfic, and I could just give it however many extra episodes I want. But I do find it more interesting to see what you could do within the confines of the episodes themselves, instead of just saying, oh, give it more time, give it more budget, it would be better. So nonetheless, here we are at Season 3. This is the season I want to make the least amount of changes to, which is why I bundled this with Season 4. So overall, there's only going to be 2 episodes that I'm going to be directly skipping in this season. And the first is Judai's duel against the nurse. It doesn't really do anything other than just showing Nurse Burn in the anime, but it's really like the only like fillery episode you could kind of skip, which would bring us up to 12. And the other big change I want to make is I'm going to remove Jim Crocodile Cook. Now, I love Jim, he's amazing, but I had to remove someone if I wanted to keep any amount of semblance of focus on Season 1 characters. And I originally actually had a version of the script where I had removed Austin, and I realized that just wasn't working because Austin's too important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove Jim, but I'm going to give the whole Orichalcum Eye plot to Austin. So that's what I'm going to do, because you can't get rid of Cobra because he's the villain. Adrian, he's the villain. You need him. Johan is Judai's boyfriend. You can't get rid of him. And yeah, so that just leaves Jim. And you can even have it be a similar accident. Like, you could just say, oh, well, Austin was on a mercenary mission when he fell off a cliff like Jim did, and that's what led to him getting the eye. So, as a necessity of both him being written out and me writing out Tyranno in my Season 2 rewrite, the duel between Jim and Tyranno doesn't take place. So now we're at 13 episodes. So for Season 3, I won't really be going episode by episode because most of it would just be me being like, yep, that's good. Because it's just so strong. The changes I would want to make is the episode with the magic orbs that infect Judai's friends. The main one you see being Doubt on show. But, Asuka has sadness, Fubuki has despair, Manjome has anger. Just don't make them magic orbs that give them negative emotions. Just have them feel things like normal characters. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place. But, it's not like it would be out of character for them to act like that, given the situation they're in. So next big change is the original duel where Jim duels the Supreme King. Replace that with Austin and just fill in the gaps from there. Just have him do what Jim did in that duel and ultimately lose, and then have Sho take up the reins of being the one to try and save Judai. And this would be even more interesting with the doubt that is plaguing him. Instead of being, magic doubt, it's just normal human doubt that, well, maybe I can't save my friend. Also just going to have the Supreme King just use normal polymerization when he fuses his evil heroes, simply because Judai's going to struggle with using polymerization later because of all the things the Supreme King did, which makes more sense if the Supreme King did them with polymerization. So, going to change that. And so season would continue as normal until it was originally the Austin versus Supreme King duel, whereas now Sho versus the Supreme King. And let's have it end in a draw like the original did, but just let the rules of this world allow Sho to continue living, but it'll be enough of a blow that it lets Judai take over back from the Supreme King side. Let's skip forward to Hell Kaiser's duel against Yubel, one of the best duels of all time. Just add a little moment at the end of the duel where he bequeaths his deck to Sho, in a sort of saying, this was my perfect duel, and I'm going to give this deck to you now, as I'm dying, because you're not perfect, so you can evolve this deck more than I could, because I already reached my limit. And this is going to be Ryo's real death here, because I'm just not going to bring him back in Season 4. So rest of the season will play out as normal. Until the final episode, I'm going to cash in one of my extra episodes to turn the clip show to a normal episode. So still have all the things of Judai's friends missing him, but also show Judai and Yubel using the now tamed power of the gentle darkness to extinguish the white light. Because they do that off screen, so might as well just show them doing it. Anyway, now here we get to Season 4. So, Season 4, Episode 1, no notes, good episode. Episode 2, keep mostly everything the same, but maybe add a line from Sayo that, even though it was an energy of destruction, the white light was still pulsating out energy throughout the universe, and now there's a lack of energy going through the universe, and that alongside the Sacred Beast and the Yugioh dimension shifting is in addition to causing the weakened boundaries around the dual school. Episode 3, no notes, all good. Episode 4, it's really good. I would maybe add some dialogue between Truman and Judai about how it was like only due to defeating the white light that Truman can truly have this power, because with the light of destruction gone, humanity should be able to move forward towards creation instead of destruction. But due to people's anxieties and fears, Truman is going to instead erase everything, so nothing can be either created nor destroyed, and it's just a blank slate. Just to give some like foreshadowing to like darkness's whole true nature instead of having that all backloaded. Episodes 5 and 6 were originally Asuka's wrap-up episodes. I'm going to completely change how this plays out here. So instead it's going to be Asuka. She's seeing that Judai can't enjoy duels anymore, and he's all closed off. He was thinking about leaving Duel Academy. And she goes to go duel him to try and cheer him up, and reminding him of their first duel. But they stop halfway when it's clear that Judai is taking it too seriously. So she goes to go ask for advice, and eventually goes to ask for advice from Monjome, and they decide they're going to put up a play duel to show how fun it is to just duel your friends with no stakes. And as it's going on, they're doing like, say, really hammy, ham-fisted acting, but eventually Monjome, kind of professes his love for Asuka again, and this actually just causes Judai to chuckle because he thinks it's still part of the, the whole act they're putting on, and he will apologize for being so closed off and so abrupt with everyone in season 4, but says that he still needs some time and that there's still some things he needs to do before he can really think about getting back to enjoying dueling the way he used to. Then have a scene with Monjome and Asuka where Asuka says, if you actually legitimately beat me in a duel, then I will, I'll consider going on a date with you. And Monjome would say, okay, but I'll challenge you when I'm at my best, because Yugioh doesn't really do romance, so I don't want it to be like a real romance thing, but maybe it's something that could lead into something in the future, and also this would lead into Monjome's episodes where he's trying to become a pro duelist. So then I'm going to weave an episode out of whole cloth here, because Rei didn't really get a send-off episode. So have Rei duel Judai, because as we know from season 1, she's in love with Judai, and have him defeat her and say that he already has someone really important to him, and make it vague so it's not clear if he's talking about Yubel or Johan, or both. So yeah, just have her send off that. So the next 2 episodes, they were originally the battle of the Cyber School versus the Psycho School. I'm going to completely throw out the idea of the Psycho School. It was introduced way too late to be anything. Instead, I started with Fubuki dueling Sho to see if he's worthy of his brother's deck, considering Ryo was Fubuki's best friend. And Fubuki's able to easily defeat Sho because he's just trying to imitate his brother instead of growing and changing like his brother wanted him to. Have Sho realize what he needs to do to incorporate and build cyber style into something different. The way he incorporates his roids into it, even though it makes no IRL sense, but it makes anime sense. They do a rematch and Sho's able to win. Next is the Monjome send-off episodes. What I'm going to do here is just flip his duels against Edo and Judai, so that he duels Edo first and is told to throw it, and then he duels Judai and gets a win, because come on, Monjome deserves a W over Judai, let's be real, after 4 seasons. Next is Judai vs. Kronos, amazing episode, no notes. Next is the whole graduation duel. Graduation duels don't really go anywhere, but it leads into Darkness taking over everyone on the campus, so gotta keep that one. Next is we get a cool Austin duel with some Austin backstory, I really like that, no notes. Next 2 episodes of the return of Sayo, I love Sayo, no notes. And that is the return of Johan, I love Johan, no notes. Then I'm going to add in 3 episodes here out of whole cloth. So first it would be Truman actually dueling and defeating Sho first, because this happens in the show. It just happens in like 1 second, basically off screen. Have him defeat Sho, and then have him defeat Asuka and Monjome in a 2v1. And in these episodes show that he can, even if people are pure apart and they're set on their future, have him be able to pull out the darkness in people. And this would be a setup for the Judai and Johan duel, where he attempts to do that against Johan and fails. Then next would be episodes 21 and 22, where just Fubuki's left on the island, basically, because Judai and Johan are still making their way there. And have him actually point out that, he left Fubuki for last, And he says, oh, it's because you used to be bonded with darkness and everything, and that's why I left you for last. And have it say, no, because I realized that you're Fujiwara, and maybe you left me for last because I'm your friend, and you didn't want to be the one to drag me down into darkness. And then still have the rest of the duel goes as it does in the show. And then the remaining 6 episodes of the Triangle Duel, Judai vs. Darkness, and then the Ceremonial Duel, there's no notes. That's pretty much as good as Yugioh can ever get. So, yeah, that's how Season 4 still ends. That is my rewrite for Season 3 and 4, and we still came in 6 episodes under, so maybe I'll let myself carry those episodes over if I do a 5Ds rewrite sometime. But that would be a long while from now. Since the beginning of that show is just so strong, you'd have to get pretty deep into it before I'd make any real changes. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I'd love to see your ideas for any rewrites here down in the comments below.